What is up, Fight World? We got another banger for you. And today I want to jump right into it. So, Charles, I want to start off with you, man. So, I want to talk about this Bob Arum, Terrence Crawford lawsuit that they have going on. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, I think it's a result of a long buildup. You know, Terrence Crawford believes in loyalty. He stuck with Top Rank and Arum for basically his entire professional career. And he achieved lots of major accolades in terms of pound for pound recognition, championship belts, et cetera, et cetera. However, as everybody knows, when he got to 147, he didn't get the fights that he was seeking. In my opinion, the real issue is not getting him the Manny Pacquiao fight. That's my opinion. Now, based on everything that I've read, he talks a lot about Arum promising the Spence fight and that not coming to fruition. But, I mean, I think Top Rank is going to be easy. They're going to easily explain away why that fight didn't happen. So I'm a little surprised he did not mention, or they did not mention Manny Pacquiao in that. Because to me, that's the turning point for Terrence Crawford's career, not getting that fight.
Do you feel
what if Pacquiao didn't want the fight?
Well, I was going to ask, do you feel as though, because one of the reasons for him believing that Bob Arum has this racial biasness against him is because of that Manny Pacquiao fight. He didn't want to, he felt like Bob Arum just didn't want to feed him Manny Pacquiao. Some people believe Manny Pacquiao just didn't want the fight, but in Terrence Crawford's mind, Bob Arum did not want to give Manny Pacquiao to Terrence Crawford. Do you feel as if he would have gotten that fight and he would have beaten Manny Pacquiao, that it would have catapulted him into a pay-per-view superstar?
Absolutely, 100%.
And
Adrian,
of course, is Ugas going to be a pay-per-view star now?
No.
Okay, so then, next point. Come on.
Hold on, Adrian.
Hold on.
I'm glad you said that, because Ugas and Crawford are completely, like, they're miles apart when it comes to the pound for pound list. Ugas isn't even up there. Terrence Crawford is already recognized by many people. Still to this day have him as the number one pound for pound star.
For what? For fighting once a year, Kell Brook?
Hey, listen, man.
And
I don't
Porter?
make the pound for pound list.
Okay, if he's on your list is shit.
I'm just saying, I don't make the pound for pound list.
Well,
I don't have.
Guess what? It's all opinion based. So, like, it is what it is. If you have a guy that's number one on your pound for pound list, who is last three fights he fought Porter, Kell Brook, and who's the other bum he fought?
I think the Mean Machine guy. I don't know his name.
Yeah, we didn't even fucking know. It was like 4 years ago. No one gives a shit.
But what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to get at is a lot of people have already, still to this day, have him as the number one pound for pound guy. I don't. I'm just saying a lot of people do. So him already being the number one number one pound for pound fighter, you give him Manny Pacquiao. This is a lot different than Yordenis Ugas beating Manny Pacquiao, because Yordenis Ugas didn't even sniff the top 10 pound for pound list.
Yeah. I mean, can I respond to this?
Yeah, go ahead, Charles.
Okay. I mean, first of all, let's back up a second. Hold on. Pound for pound was created to acknowledge skills. That's what the point of creating pound for pound. It wasn't about who you fought last year or the last 2 years, et cetera, et cetera. The purpose was because smaller fighters were not getting the recognition of the heavyweights. And they realized Sugar Ray Robinson was the best pound for pound fighter in the world. That's why it was created. So I think with that spirit, especially on this day, we should acknowledge lots of fighters aren't really interested in facing Terrence Crawford. So Terrence Crawford can't control who wants to fight him. He can control number one.
It now? Is he a free agent?
Yes, he's a free agent.
Okay, so next point, because that was before the top rate contract. Now he's a free agent. He can fight anyone he wants. He can join PBC if he wants.
No, he can't fight anybody he wants.
Okay.
Being a free agent doesn't allow you to fight anybody you want.
Obviously. So he could join PBC and fight those guys at 147.
How are you saying he can join PBC without PBC offering him a contract to join?
And that's another point. Yeah, that we could get into that. I'm just saying, if he truly wanted to fight, the PBC executive said it best. We didn't want to embarrass him with what they wanted to pay him. So, he's got to figure out some stuff. I can tell you that right now. Terrence Crawford's more focused on lawsuits than actually fighting. So.
I mean, like
a career.
I mean, he is. I mean, listen. Okay, listen. When was his last fight?
His last fight was November. He fought Sean Porter.
Okay, November. What month are we in? It's January. We don't even know who he's. Maybe there's not even like rumors of. He doesn't have a promoter. Like, bro, he can get lost. Like, listen, I'm done with Terrence Crawford for now. Like, he's more focused on lawsuiting and bringing up all these frivolous. Oh, he's racist. All he did was copy paste Mikey Garcia's lawsuit and just added one provision, the race stuff. That's it. Like, bro.
Okay. So Terrence, you brought up
Terrence Crawford has bro. His last fight was in November. We're about to be in February. He hasn't even
saying a bunch of different
yet.
things. You're all over the place.
What's different? There's no one over the place.
PBC.
His last fight was in November. That is a fact. Second fact. We're almost into February. He doesn't have a promoter.
So
what are we doing? What is he doing with his career? He only fought 3 times in the last 3 years, and he fought 2 of the 3 were bums.
Okay.
What are you saying? What are you saying?
So how about
let him talk? Let him talk.
Can I respond?
Respond. Go ahead.
When was Keith Thurman's last fight? When was Errol Spence Jr.'s last fight?
What is Keith Thurman or else? They're PBC guys. We all know
is he going to let me speak?
They don't fight.
Daniel,
Adrian, let him talk. Let him talk. Adrian.
Go ahead.
He brings up PBC, but is he going to answer to the PBC welterweights? When were their last fights? When did Spence fight? When did Danny Garcia fight? When did Keith Thurman fight? So you're bringing up PBC. I didn't bring up PBC. You're bringing up PBC, and you can't even name a top PBC welterweight who's done anything since Terrence Crawford has stopped the guy they can't stop. So you can put all your PBC fighters together in a room, find one who can stop Sean Porter. We saw who can stop Sean Porter. So that's the next question. Who's going to step up? So I'm here to say, because this is what I'm saying. Terrence Crawford will be willing to fight Ennis. Terrence Crawford will be willing to fight Ortiz. So you can talk about all these other guys.
I think I said you're just going to keep going in circles. Because we all know the guys at PBC. The guys at PBC don't fight real competition.
I want to ask you. Okay, you said that Terrence Crawford is willing to fight Boots. When did
He's not fighting anyone. He doesn't have a promoter. Who's he willing to fight?
Why do you have to have a promoter to have a fight?
He doesn't. Okay, so now what do you just get a sign on his own? Okay, good luck with that. So then maybe he could blame himself for the shit numbers that he puts out.
Well, I mean, you're okay. I don't really care about his numbers. I mean, his numbers don't pay me. I don't.
But at the end of the day, it's a business. It's not a sport. It's a business. If he doesn't sell, he cried about it. He filed his lawsuit. He's blaming Bob Arum lost $20 million on Terrence Crawford, but it's his fault. Come on, stop. Do you think Bob Arum openly
Did you hear me say anything about that? I never said anything about that. So I'm talking about the boxing element. Terrence Crawford, as a boxer, is willing to fight anybody. That's what I'm saying. And PBC fighters have shown throughout the years they're not so willing. So we can go line item if you want, one by one if you want, from Deontay Wilder to Tank Davis to whoever you want to mention at PBC who ducks fights. One thing Terrence Crawford doesn't do is duck fights.
There's no disagreement with you on that. We both agree that PBC, they're not about fights. They don't fight real competition. Tank Davis is the perfect example. We agree. We're in agreement with that.
So as far as the suit, I don't know what's going to happen with the suit. Mm-hmm. I never said he should.
No. That definitely nobody knows. It's probably not going to go his way, more than likely. But what I wanted to get at was, do you guys believe that it is some sort of racial bias? And the reason why I asked is because when Tyson Fury when Bob Arum lost, I want to say about the same amount of money on Tyson Fury trying to promote him. He didn't bash Tyson Fury. He wasn't going public saying, "Oh, I'm losing money on Tyson Fury. I can't promote the guy."
He lost money on Tyson Fury?
He lost money on Tyson, absolutely.
How much did he lose?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was 20 million, but he lost a lot of money on Tyson Fury.
It wasn't 20 million.
Probably not 20 million, but he still lost money. He lost M's, bro. He lost M's. No matter what the amount, he lost money on Tyson Fury. He didn't go public saying, "Oh, I can't promote him. He's unpromotable. He can't sell a stadium. This, and that." He didn't say anything. He didn't say anything about Tyson Fury. But when it comes,
but what makes it a racial issue? Like, I know that's the thing that, like, a lot of people run to, like Henry Cejudo and with the UFC. He doesn't get, these fighters don't get their ways, and then all of a sudden, the promoters are racist.
Well, Adrian, is boxing not one of the most biased sports when it comes to race?
Yeah, boxing is, yes, yeah.
Absolutely. So
but listen, you're talking about Bob Arum. Bro, Bob Arum has been a promoter. Bro, isn't it Ali's birthday? Happy birthday to him. But
all right.
Or was it yesterday or
Martin
whatever
Luther
it is?
King. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King.
Okay. Oh, my bad. I apologize. Yeah, so like he's been promoting since the Ali days. If he was racist, like, I don't know. I haven't seen any proof. I tried to just real quick. I wanted to pull up the complaint, the actual lawsuit, and see specifically, like, was there an example? Was there a direct allegation? Like Bob Arum dropped the N-bomb. Like I didn't read that. The only thing that I read was all the racist stuff was in regards to what he said about Floyd Mayweather, Al Heyman, and Earl Spence. Those were the three guys that were mentioned.
I
listen,
Adrian on this, Daniel.
Hold on, really quickly.
Yeah.
But just because he promoted guys like Ali, that doesn't mean. I mean, if you're making money off of these guys, you're gonna do it whether you're a racist or not. It's pretty much my point. You know what I mean? So whether you're racist or not, you're gonna promote them.
At the same time, this is why his like this whole lawsuit is silly. If he never at any point wanted out of the contract when he re-upped. He's been with Bob Arum since he started his professional career. Yes.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. And he re-upped. He re-upped in I think 2019. I think
he did. Which I didn't understand.
There was like rumors. There was rumors swirling that he may. I know there were some rumors about him at PBC.
I don't know if there was actually any rumors about him going to PBC. There probably was. I didn't understand why he re-upped. I don't remember if it was 2018, 2019, but
yeah, it was one of those. That's what I'm saying. I know there was whether they were legit rumors or not. Listen, when a fighter's a free agent, and they're going to create these rumors to try to, kind of build, make more money for themselves. That's how sports works.
Charles,
so,
do you
believe without any proof or any actual direct allegations, like I need to see a video of him. Anytime race is brought up, if you want to call someone a racist, I need receipts.
But to be fair, Terrence Crawford wasn't calling him a racist per se. He just has racial biasness. That doesn't mean you're a racist. It just means you're more biased.
Yeah, but give me a legit example. Like it's
I gave you an example.
You have to back it.
The Tyson Fury example. Him losing money on Tyson Fury, whether it was 20 million, 10 million, 1 million, he lost money on him. He didn't turn around and publicly say, "I'm losing money on this guy." He did it with Terrence Crawford. So that's an example. I mean, you take it how you want.
That's not really. I don't know. I mean, I'm not too sure what kind of example that is, but like, I don't know. Bob Arum wasn't Tyson Fury's promoter since he became pro.
Yeah.
So,
can I answer the question?
Yeah, go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually agree with Adrian on this. I don't think there's a racial element in reference to Bob Arum treating Terrence Crawford. I don't. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think
Charles,
it has anything to do with being a racist. What I think it has to do with is an inability to promote Terrence Crawford. But what I've said to a lot of people, Top Rank has failed with lots of fighters, not just Terrence Crawford.
They don't have any pay-per-view stars.
I mean, Gilberto Ramirez, Zurdo, to me, is the biggest transgression of Top Rank in the last 10 years. I mean, that's horrible promoting of Zerda. So I don't think it was a racist element. I think that Crawford or his handlers are trying to find an excuse for not being promoted properly because it doesn't really make sense the way Top Rank has gone
Charles,
about
let me
promoting
help you
Terrence
out, Charles. Let
Crawford.
me help
That's
you
my
out,
personal
Charles.
opinion. You got a guy that can
When
beat anybody at 135, then anybody at 140, and then anybody at 147. Get him in the ring. If you can't get him the fights that he needs, put him in the ring 4 times, like Mr. Alvarez did last year, I believe, or whatever, trying to get in the ring more often. If that's what's going to happen, because I, like a lot of people, I'm trying to find somebody at 147 that can go the distance with Terrence Crawford. That's not being a fan of Crawford. That's being a connoisseur of the sport of boxing. So I think Top Rank did not do a good job promoting him, but I don't think they're doing a good job promoting a lot of people. So I think they shouldn't have brought up the racial element, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. I think if he just stuck to not getting the Spence fight, not getting the other fights he wanted, not getting 2 fights per year, I guess that was one of the issues, and then let it be.
So real quick, Johnny, let me step in. So when Crawford became pro back in 2010 or whenever, from 2010 to 2018, 2019, that first contract, Bob Arum wasn't racist, and then I guess he turned some sort of racial bias. All of a sudden, it popped up in 2019. I guess I don't know. That's what he's saying. I guess.
I mean, but Adrian, that's not a good analogy, Adrian. I mean, my people, again, today is a very important day for a lot of Black people. Let me just say that. So we can say, for example, I'm just giving an analogy. We can say there's racial bias among law enforcement, but that doesn't mean every single interaction with the police officer, you're going to have to deal with racial bias, but it can be there. So, a guy can be a certain way 5 years ago and then 5 years later shoot an innocent Black guy. Are you gonna go back to what he did 5 years ago and say, oh, well, he had a best friend who was Black, so he didn't kill this guy 5 years later because he was Black? So that's not a good analogy. I mean, we're dealing with discrimination every single day, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. It's there. So is Terrence Crawford going to be able to prove that he was discriminated against? Probably not. But
Definitely not.
There are racial elements all the time. Please don't get that twisted.
Julius, what do you think about all this, about this lawsuit?
I mean, I've never thought like Bob Arum was racist. I think that's his best like bet to try to use it against Top Rank as it being a race issue. I do think Bob did mess up big time when he came out and just slandered Terrence Crawford the way he did when Terrence Crawford was in the process of trying to secure a Spence fight. You don't come out when there's negotiations going on and people throwing out numbers, and you come out and say, hey, my fighter can't sell shit. I've lost millions on this guy. He's terrible when it comes to selling pay-per-views. And like, just in my opinion, even if that stuff is true, you don't publicly do that to your fighter if you are trying to secure him a fight, especially when you got Spence who doesn't want the fight, and him and PBC is doing everything they can to make excuses. Oh, well, now, look, your promoter said you can't sell, so it's either 80-20 or 70-30 or no deal, when we all know Terrence Crawford deserves a way better percentage than the 70-30 split. But when your own promoter's coming out and saying he can't sell, it's kind of like, look, dude, he's saying you don't deserve it. We saying you don't deserve it. Take it or leave it. As a promoter, whose side are you on? So Terrence Crawford's like, you jeopardized my fight. I think he's just using the racial thing because that will help him a little bit in the time we live in.
I
don't
agree
know if
with
we're breaking
that.
up or what's going on.
No. I can hear you perfect.
You hear me?
I can hear you, bro.
Okay. The screen is just like freezing up. That's why.
Yeah, no. It's all good. So, all right. So we kind of already pretty much know how this lawsuit is going to go. It's probably not going to go Terrence Crawford's way. So let's move on from that. Whatever happens, happens. We'll see what happens. Crawford is a free agent now. He can do as he pleases. Good luck to him in the lawsuit. And like I said, whatever happens, happens. So let's move on really quickly. All right, Shakur Stevenson is rumored to possibly have a fight against Oscar Valdez. How do you guys, Charles, let's start with you, man. I know you're big on Shakur Stevenson. How do you feel that fight goes if it does get made?
I think it would go, obviously, Shakur's way. I think that he would pretty much dominate the rounds. I think Valdez can hurt Shakur to the body. I think Oscar is an underrated boxer. I followed Oscar his entire career. I have a lot of respect for Oscar Valdez. So it's not going to be a walk in the park. It's not. I mean, it isn't, Julius. It's not going to be a walk in the park. And Oscar Valdez is not going to be in a walk in the park for anybody at 130. And I say anybody. So he's a very, very, very determined, disciplined boxer. With that being said, Shakur Stevenson, 11th round, TKO.
Okay. KP, what do you think?
Ooh. I like that. I thought I was the only one that was going to say a late round stoppage. So he surprised me. I think it's an easy fight, man. Honestly, I don't really see. I think Valdez is a lot smaller than Shakur. Shakur's a big dude at 130. He's young and he's continuing to grow. One thing I did notice in his last fight versus Jamel Herring is he did fade, even though it was slightly. He was getting tired in spots, and I don't feel Jamel was really like doing anything detrimental to him for him to really kind of fade the way he kind of did. Versus Oscar, you can't really fade. I do think the weight cut is getting to Shakur, but stylistically, the level of boxing Shakur is on he's a special athlete. I think he's gonna pick Oscar apart, and we're probably gonna get a late round stoppage. I honestly been saying it since Shakur turned pro. I think he's the future number one pound for pound best boxer in the world. Skill for skill, I don't think anybody's better than him. I do think he still has more to grow, but like I said, as long as he stays in the path he's on, I think he's gonna be that fighter. Like right now, if you put him in the ring with like a Lomachenko, I would edge a Loma right now. But like next year, I think Shakur is better than Lomachenko. So I personally hold Shakur to a very, very high standard. Oscar's a good fighter. I think stylistically he doesn't like boxers. I didn't watch the full fight that he had last, but from what I did see in that fight, he didn't look too good. And then we got the controversy with the ped stuff. Y'all know how I feel about Canelo. You know how I feel about that camp. And I don't believe no herbal tea. I'm not going with the herbal tea. Just like I don't believe in the steak tacos.
Oh my God, herbal tea.
But all in all, I got Shakur Stevenson in dominating fashion. I think Shakur go to 135 and dominate as well.
All right, Adrian, how do you see that fight going?
Shakur's amazing. He's definitely potential to be a pound for pound, definitely the top five.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? It's tough to. I don't think he stops him. Because knowing Oscar and that team, they're going to be prepared for that fight. I think he outclasses him. I don't think he stops him though.
Honestly, I just have a bad feeling that if this fight does get signed and made, somebody, probably Oscar Valdez, is going to pull out of the fight. I just like us as boxing fans, we haven't been blessed with a great fight in a while. You know what I mean? I just feel like some bullshit. Somebody's gonna test positive for COVID. Somebody's gonna get hurt. Something's gonna happen, and I feel like that fight is not gonna get made.
Don't speak negativity, Johnny.
Listen, man. I'm just saying, man. The way boxing has been,
you know what it is, though. To be honest with you, boxing needs this fight because you said it best. 100%. There hasn't been any, bro. Boxing's been, compared to MMA, a fight gets made every day now. I feel like with the UFC. And we just got nothing, man. I mean, if you look at all the top guys, none of them, Canelo doesn't even have a fight pick. Crawford doesn't have a promoter. You name Spence. Spence is still getting, he's drinking every night, getting shit faced. Boxing's in shambles, man. Tyson Fury has no idea what he's doing. He's trying to, he's getting sued too. The
Yeah,
AJ
there's
Usyk
lawsuits
fight.
left
I
and
don't
right.
know what's
Again,
wrong
more
with that
lawsuits and
rematch.
big fights.
I don't know. Boxing is it's the worst it's been in a very long time.
So really quickly, all right, Charles. Oh, go ahead, Charles.
I was gonna say I don't think either one of those two guys are gonna mess up their money, man. This is
I hope not.
their big money fight. I've watched both of these guys spar, both of them. I've spoken with both of them multiple times. I mean, these I know people have their opinions about what Shakira does outside the ring sometimes, but they're disciplined professionals, and this is their moment. So I don't think either one of those two guys. If we're talking about certain other characters, such as Adrian brought up, maybe a Tyson Fury or somebody like that, who sometimes can drift away. Yeah, but nah, not these two guys. These two guys are locked and loaded, and they'll be ready to go in April.
Hopefully. All right, so moving on
Hey,
really
Johnny,
quickly.
can I? Oh.
Yeah, go ahead, Adrian.
So Charles, you said you know both guys really well, yes?
I said
Valdez
I've spoken
and,
to both. I'm not going to say I know them very well. But
no, not
yes,
like personally. I'm just saying. Do you find any truth in those potential Eddie Reynoso, PED? Do you feel there's a connection with Oscar Valdez and the PEDs?
I will
It's okay,
say
Charles.
that
It's okay. You can
say
say how you
that
feel.
I think the number one boxer from Eddie Reynoso uses PEDs.
100%. I think we're all in agreement.
That's what I will say. But I don't think it's
from
I don't
experience, from known. I'm going to use MMA because MMA, when you start it, they get tested way more.
Yeah.
Usually, when someone in the camp is doing it, they're all doing it. That's typically how it goes. So
I'm not in a disagreement with that. But the one thing I do disagree with, if you're insinuating, I think the source is not Eddie Reynoso, though. So I don't think he's the one that is trying to do that. I'll just put it like that. I'm not going to say
I agree
that
with
he's
that.
against it.
He's just, unfortunately, he's the face of that team. He's the face of that camp. So, it's happening on his watch.
All in all, you have multiple fighters that come out of the same camp that have tested positive for one thing or another, and it's always some bogus excuse. Oscar was Canelo. Oscar was it Navarrete? No, who's that small fighter? The other guy who was on the team. Oh my God, I got my names going for me right now. There's another fighter that I believe he was at 118. He tested positive as well. The dude that Canelo recently beat up, the 2-round fight, was it Avil or so? What was his name? Johnny, help me out.
Avril Yodrum.
Okay, yeah, he was a long time sparring partner for Canelo. I don't know. A lot of people don't pay attention to a lot of stuff in boxing. They just pay attention to what they see that is posted in boxing groups. But he was a long time sparring partner for Canelo, and he also tested positive for PEDs because he was supposed to fight David Benavidez. That was going to be the final eliminator. Okay, and then he tested positive or something, and then he ended up getting the fight in Canelo, and that's how he became the mandatory for Canelo. So all these guys that go into this camp somehow, somewhere, always find a way to test positive, and whether it's a steak taco or it's a herbal tea, something isn't adding up. You know what I mean? Oscar Valdez, the way that he did Burchett was crazy. You know what I mean? And then the next fight, you piss dirty. I'm just saying, man. Usually, where there's smoke, there's fire. So
I can
I agree 100%.
Listen, I can speak on that in reference to Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez does not want to take any PDs. I can say that 100% matter of factly, 100%.
Okay, and how do you know that?
Because I can just say 100%. I know that for a fact. Oscar Valdez. I'm only saying him. I'm not saying anybody else in that camp. Mm-hmm. Oscar Valdez does not want to take PEDs.
Okay, Charles. With that being said, let's say they have a nutritionist or something over there, right? Whether they're being given shakes or multi-packs of pills or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
To some way, these steroids are, these PEDs, performance-enhancing drugs, are being found in their systems. Whether we're going to sit here and say Oscar voluntarily took something or not, you know what I mean, his body has performance enhancers in him. So, you know, do you think it was fair for his fight to continue? That's one thing I do want to ask you.
No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Do you feel
do
he
you
should have
feel
been
like
punished?
he won that fight? Do you feel he won that match?
Do I feel like he won?
Yeah, your personal opinion.
As far Oscar, no, it looked like he lost 7 rounds to 5 that fight.
Yeah.
If I
don't think
recall
it looked too
correctly,
good.
you're talking about his last fight, right?
The last one, correct? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean he looked pretty bad in that fight.
Took a lot of
But,
damage.
I mean, it's to me. See, everybody has their own opinions about PEDs. I mean, so number one, PEDs are much different today than they were 15 years ago. Much different. So, you know, in terms of the effect of PEDs is one thing. In terms of boxers or fighters or athletes who knowingly use PEDs compared to unknowingly, that is a big deal to me. So, but regardless, if you test positive, I don't think you should be paid, and I think your opponent should be paid. I think it should come from your money, and I think you should be automatically suspended. That's my opinion.
100% agree.
So,
100% agree.
and
100%.
And the thing that I will say in reference to Adrian, again, what you asked me about the team, the one issue I do have with Oscar in this is because he's been very clear he unknowingly took this. But then you do have to cut ties. If you stick with your team after this, then you either have to take responsibility for taking the PEDs then, or out somebody in your team. So that's my issue with him. Like, I know the heart of Oscar Valdez. I promise you, he's not that guy. He isn't that guy. But can he be led certain directions? Of course. I mean, he went from being trained by Manny Robles in Carson, California, to being trained by Eddie Reynoso. And his manager took him there, Frank Espinosa, took him out of Manny Robles' training camp and took him to Reynoso. So what is he supposed to do? I mean, is he supposed to tell his manager, you know, I don't like all this that's going around. I don't like being attached to this. I don't really know what he should do at this point. But, you know, and to be clear, if somebody tests positive, I think they should be automatically suspended. I think their opponent should be paid. I think that's a big deal. You know, so I think it's the same as missing weight. If somebody misses weight, I think the same thing in a championship fight. If you miss weight, if your opponent doesn't want to get in the ring with you because you missed weight, I think the opponent still should be paid. But, I mean, boxing is boxing. Boxing is not a uniform, fluid sport, unlike other sports that are uniform and fluid. To me, those are the only two important rules, to be honest, going into a fight. Not testing positive and making weight. Everything else is fair game.
Hey, Charles, man, I want to thank you so much for coming on, man. Thank you so much for your knowledge and everything. Take care. We're going to jump the conversation right into the MMA world. Thank you, Charles, once again, man. It's a pleasure.
All right. Thank you for having me, and enjoy Martin Luther King Day, fellas.
All right, brother.
All right, man. So my MMA coach just jumped in. Chris, man, how you feeling, man? How you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm chilling. Enjoying the new year.
Cool. All right, so let's jump right into the MMA talk, man. And I'm gonna start off with Chris, man. Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman has been signed, sealed, delivered. A fight that Adrian did not want to see. Well, too bad. In your face. Take that. By the way, Adrian's the guy right on top of you with the headphones. He didn't want to see this fight for whatever reason. What do you think about this fight, man?
I think Kamaru wins. I think he's on fire right now, and he's only getting better. He's been getting better. He was good. I mean, you have to be good to be the champ, to win the title. And he's just getting better. You know what I mean? Like, he fought Tyron and he took him apart. Then, I mean, what he did to Gilbert Burns, Jesus. And then he beats Masvidal. The first time he beat him, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be different the next time they fight." And And he fought a smart fight with Masvidal because Masvidal is a notorious effective striker.
Mhm.
And if I were fighting him, I'd take him down. You know what I mean? And then kind of play around with him and then take him down again. But that second fight, the rematch, he closed the book. You know? So Leon Edwards is impressive, but I think this fight favors Kamaru.
Have you seen any improvement in Leon Edwards that makes you think that maybe he's got a chance?
I mean, it's a fight, so I guess they always have a chance, but I haven't seen any improvement that says he wins this fight.
Okay. All right, Adrian, I know this is a fight you were long waiting for, so let me get your thoughts on it.
Usman's the best fighter in all of MMA, and you can make an argument in all of any individual sports. He's the most dominant champ we've seen in a while.
I 100%.
Saying that he already fought Leon Edwards, and if you look at the trajectory of both their careers, Usman is he's improved leaps and bounds, whereas Leon Edwards is basically still the same guy. The biggest problem for Leon is he doesn't have the power in his punches to keep Usman at bay or have him respect him. Usman could literally just dog walk him. You know what I mean? Like just put pressure, and just beat him up. He's too big. He's too strong. His wrestling's out of this world. It's gonna be it's gonna look just like the first fight, but just more dominant. That's in my opinion. That's why I really didn't want to see it.
KP, I heard you go when he said that
because he lost
right now, man. You disagree?
No, he lost me with the. You can make an argument for being the pound for pound best fighter overall.
You don't believe he is
throughout sports like boxing too?
Yeah, boxing. All
combat.
How? It's not even close. It's not even. You can't even. What boxer has done what he's done?
Terrence Crawford.
No, who's Terrence Crawford fought? We just went over this. Oh, you were an
bro.
Who is he fought?
We got to stop doing it, bro. We're just talking
there's
about.
There's no back and forth, bro. He doesn't fight champions. What are you saying? Defense. And then we'll talk about it. Then put him in that combo.
Jorge Masvidal has like 20 losses. If we want to do boxing logic, who has he fought? We can do that with Jorge Masvidal has one of the worst records.
Yeah, and Terrence Crawford fought 3 times in 3 years. Kell Brook, he can't even compete.
Losses.
Like what type of fighter is Kell Brook? What are you saying, bro? Shut up! You don't even know what you're talking about. Terrence Crawford, number 1 pound for pound on sports, bro. He hasn't beat anybody. What are you saying? He doesn't even have a promoter.
This man, he's gonna lose
how can you
relax. Open your mouth on this podcast right now and say he hasn't fought anybody, bro? First of all, what I'm coming at
he hasn't fought anyone at 147.
Adrian.
Hold on, Adrian. Let him talk.
Dominance. You said the word dominance. Dominant champion. We're not talking about resume. We're not talking about who I think is the better fighter. We're talking about pure dominance. Terrence Crawford has been dominant in 3 weight classes. There's no champion in boxing or MMA more dominant than Terrence Crawford. Tell Kamaru Usman to move up to 185 and be just as dominant as Terrence Crawford has been at 35, at 40, and 47. Your opinion on his opposition does not matter when you use the word dominant champion. You can't do that because DJ, Mighty Mouse, was the most dominant fighter, and we're not talking about his resume. We're just talking about pure dominance. Kamaru Usman is at 1 weight class. So if you want to mix boxing and MMA, Kamaru needs to move up. He needs to really challenge himself. You talk about all he's doing is rematches. Terrence Crawford's not running it back with Ricky Burns. That's basically what Kamaru Usman's doing. He's running it back with Ricky Burns. So let's number one MMA fighter. All right, we're not gonna say he's the number 1 in all combat sports. We can't do that. His boxer's way more dominant than Kamaru Usman, taking bigger challenges. Chocolatito ran up 4 weight classes. Kamaru gotta move up.
So really quickly, Chris.
I didn't even give my opinion on the fight. I didn't give my opinion.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
Yeah, man. He got sidetracked. We're not gonna keep disrespecting boxing. We're not gonna keep disrespecting boxing, Adrian. That's what we're not gonna keep doing. But no, man. I think it's a great fight. I think this is one of those fights where everybody's gonna say, "Oh, you gotta remember MMA, brother. We gotta remember MMA." The fights that become big upsets are mind-blowing is the ones we don't think is going to happen. We didn't think Conor was going to lose to Nate. We didn't think Miesha Tate was going to beat Holly Holm. We didn't think I did. We didn't think Amanda Nunes was going to lose. You know what I mean? Like, it's those fights which I feel is this one right now with Kamaru Usman and I got so sidetracked. I forgot his name already, man. It's one of those fights that I'm not saying Usman's going to lose, right? I think it's going to be a way closer fight than everybody thinks. That's all I'm going to say. You know what I mean?
So Julius, really quickly. So since you believe it's going to be a closer fight, has Leon Edwards shown any improvement since the last time that they fought that makes you, because he must have done something different to make you think that this is going to be a closer fight?
Oh, I mean, Leon Edwards, a fighter, man. This is a guy who goes to the gym every day and he trains his ass off. We're not, you know what I mean? There has to be improvements to continue to win fights, man. We're not going to say he just hasn't gotten any better at all. You know what I mean? He's the number 2, top 3 fighter in his weight class for a reason. He's long. He's tall.
Who was the last guy he fought? Who was the last guy that Leon Edwards fought?
It was a no decision with Bilal.
Oh, I thought that was Diaz's last fight.
No, it was Bilal. They fought like 2 months ago.
He did fight Nate Diaz. He fought Nate Diaz, and to be honest, he didn't look that good against Nate.
He dominated until the last 10 seconds. He dominated.
He did not look that good against. That fight said more about Nate Diaz. That fight said more about Nate Diaz than it did about Leon Edwards.
Okay, I'll say this though. During that fight, Twitter and everybody's reaction was Nate was getting beat up. Nobody was talking about what Nate was doing until Nate landed one good shot. And let's take away that one moment that happened in that fight. What else happened? It was dominant, one-sided beatdown, and Leon was beating him up on the feet. Most guys that dominate Nate Diaz or Nick Diaz, they take him to the ground. They don't stand and dominate the Diaz brothers. Leon was able to keep standing and pick him apart. Leon is a big guy. I know you said that.
Wasn't Masvidal doing the same thing though? When he fought Nate, he was dominating him on the feet. Yeah, until the stoppage.
Yeah, but that's a top level striker.
Okay.
So I'm just saying most guys, when they can dominate a Diaz brother, it's wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And what would you say? Leon is better than Masvidal? Yes or no? If they got in a fight right now, if that was the next fight, who you think would win? You think Masvidal would beat Leon?
No, I don't. I don't believe so.
I think Leon would pick Masvidal apart, and Masvidal would only have a puncher's chance, a flying knee, a wild head kick. He would have a knockout chance only. I think Leon is overall the better fighter. You know what I mean? He's a better striker. So, but yeah,
I think sometimes
you can go on now.
Go ahead, Chris.
I think sometimes too much linear logic gets applied, and I like watching all of these guys. I love watching all of them. And while I would not say that Masvidal is the most elite or the best, or I don't even think he'd make it into my top 10 favorite strikers in the UFC, but he's explosive and he has a lot of experience. And I think that, like, if we were talking about that fight, if that were to happen, that I think that if for one moment Leon Edwards decides to take a minute, a second, 30 seconds off of an round, he'll pay. He's going to be forced to pay the price for that. So, and again, he hasn't gotten better. Do you want to meet him in an alley? No. Do you want to fight him at a bar? No. But he hasn't gotten better. He hasn't. Mm-hmm. Not to the point where it's like, whoa, Leon Edwards is fighting tonight. We're going to see some fireworks. We're going to see some shit, So
Adrian, do you agree with that? Do you think that Leon Edwards just has not improved? There's just nothing there that can convince you he even remotely stands a chance against Usman?
The biggest factor in this fight, it's not anything Leon could do. I think the biggest problem for Usman is his motivation. It's a guy who already beat. It's a style that, like, is just it's tailor-made for him. So like for him, you guys listen. We got to act. We got someone who actually trains and fights here. You know what I mean? I'm not talking to some wannabe who's never put on a pair of gloves. It's tough to train the same way that he trained for Colby Covington, like the way he's going to train for Leon. It's going to be a lot harder for him, to be honest with you, because as I said, they already fought. He already beat him. This is going to not make him a lot of money. This is going to be his lowest pay-per-view sales-wise, as opposed to, both times against Colby, both times against Usman. Usman wants that. He likes making money. I'm pretty sure. If it was up to him, he would fight McGregor. So I think that's the biggest factor in this fight. It's going to be his motivation levels, and he does have problems with the weight cut. He's huge for that. So,
do you think that takes any effect on him at all? Like, do you feel like maybe, like how you were saying, he's just probably not motivated. He's probably not going to train, because when he trained for Colby, he had a very close fight with Colby until the end. He caught him, and then he ended up stopping him. But it was a very, very close fight. A lot of people had Colby up on the card.
The refs had him winning. The refs had Colby winning. Yeah. So like,
to
be motivated for a rematch.
I like that. I like what you brought up though. Motivation though. Do you think maybe taking Leon too lightly is something that Kamaru Usman could possibly do that'll cost him the fight?
Yes and no. Yet again, Leon's an excellent fighter. I don't want to make it seem like I just don't like the guy. That's definitely not the case. That's not the case. All I'm saying is, this is his worst possible matchup in that division. Mm-hmm. So it's tough. It really. Yet anyone could fight, and Chris said it. Chris's name. Chris said it best. It's MMA. Everyone's got a chance, and when you're as good as Leon Edwards, he definitely has a chance to win this fight. If I have to bet and I have to pick, I don't think I don't think it's going to be a close fight.
Chris, do you think maybe lack of motivation is something that can affect? Do you think that's something that's a possibility? Because he already fought the guy. He already beat him up. Like, do you think maybe it could be like a Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas thing where he just felt like training for him just wasn't really, you know what I mean?
I don't. Okay, so I don't think so, because not with him, because he fought Colby twice. Mm-hmm. He fought Masvidal twice. Mm-hmm. I think they all. I like to give these guys the benefit of the doubt. I think they all know better. Mm-hmm. And even though in the second fight, right, or was it the first fight, Colby was doing great in one of them. Let's not forget, Colby can fight. Like, he's not a punk. You know what I'm saying? Like, he acts like a jerk. He talks a lot of trash, but he can fight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not a guy that you should be. I want to fight him unless you're talking about making money. But if you're like trying to build a resume, he's the wrong guy you should fight. Because he'll embarrass you. Look what he did to Tyrant. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus. So I don't think he'll take Leon Edwards lightly. I don't think Kamaru will take him lightly. I think his legacy right now, because he stands to be considered, at the very least, the welterweight GOAT, right? He could be the welterweight GOAT.
A lot of people that would agree.
He's going to have to move up. He's going to have to move up and win that middleweight strap.
Well, I won't say he has to move up, because we're talking about the welterweight division. So we're going to compare his accolades to GSP's accolades at 170.
The biggest, at 170, it's getting close. It's definitely getting close.
You know what I mean? Like, listen, we all know GSP is GSP, end of story. But he does have some blemishes on his record. They all do. You know what I mean? Like, GSP's two biggest ones are Matt Hughes and Matt Serra. You know what I mean? Matt Serra knocks you out. Matt Serra's a tough dude, but he's not supposed to knock out GSP. You know what I mean? That's not supposed to happen. So,
Which is what I love about
but
the
hold
fight
on,
game,
but,
man. There's a lot of things that aren't supposed to happen that happen. It's great.
but GSP
Right.
did get he got those back though. And that, you know what I
He
mean?
did.
He got those back. And that was a younger GSP. You know what I mean? You gotta remember when he went on that run. This is a guy who fought like some serious knee injuries and still came back. GSP is a guy. We were just talking about in the chat, I believe. He was a striker that turned into one of the best wrestlers ever in MMA. So it's not too many guys with GSP's wrestling pedigree who didn't wrestle in college or anything. You know what I mean? Like GSP is probably one of the best wrestlers ever in the UFC, and he wasn't a wrestler. So this guy was that good to learn. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. You know what I mean?
I agree.
More guys can pick up hand boxing in MMA than they can wrestling. And GSP literally, his wrestlers out there with Khabib's. You know what I mean? When it comes to jab and take you down, you know what I mean?
Even though he did win both of those fights back, it doesn't change the fact that it happened. You know what I'm saying? And right now, Kamaru's, you know what I'm saying? You got to at least start looking at him and go, hey, this guy is about to make some major footprints.
No, for sure. Usman's up there. He's number 2.
You know what I mean? Because I don't want to. Does he have any losses on his resume?
Not that I think one.
I don't
maybe?
think.
I think he has one early on. I don't think he's undefeated. Johnny, you pull that up?
Yeah, go ahead. Pull it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Asian Turk says GSP is the GOAT. You know what? He's in the conversation for sure. At least in my opinion.
GOAT as an overall MMA?
I believe so. Is that what you're talking about, Asian?
That's a whole nother conversation. But for me, it's Anderson.
Hey, not Adrian.
The only reason I don't put him on there is because he tested positive. That's the only reason. The only reason I won't put him as the GOAT.
Yeah, but he tested positive after he snapped his leg in half. I mean, you know, yeah. I'm not making no excuses, but I don't know. It could have been. Dudes Anderson was dominating was on steroids. Mm-hmm. And I'm not making an excuse, but all those dudes back then, the Vitor Belfort, those dudes, like, they were all juiced to their gills. You know what I mean?
Vitor's still juiced right now, so you might be onto something.
Yeah.
You might be onto something.
All right.
But just still. Okay, go ahead.
He his second pro fight, he lost by rear naked choke. So ever since then, he hasn't lost.
Oh, here it is.
And listen,
right, so
Sergio Moraes, Leon Edwards, who else? Sean Strickland, Demian Maia, Rafael Dos Anjos, Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington twice, Gilbert Burns, Masvidal twice. Yeah, I don't know, man.
That's the resume. God damn.
You know what I mean?
That's a hell of a resume, man. Oh my God. Wow. So moving on really quickly, man. Francis Ngannou, I'm sure all you guys know, he's got some kind of beef with the MMA and Dana White. He really, really, really wants to box. So, Chris, really quickly, how do you think Francis Ngannou will do in the boxing world? If he does jump ship? I'm sure it's more for the money than anything. But how do you think he'd actually skills wise?
He'll do okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. He'll win some. Mm-hmm. He'll do okay. But he's not gonna. I wouldn't say he's gonna do great. Mm-hmm. Boxing is the punching in boxing compared to the punching in MMA. It's different. The speed with which these punches get delivered, it's different. The defense that the boxer had, because it's just punching, the defense that the boxers got, man, Ngannou's gonna miss a lot. And then what happens when he misses? Is he in position to defend, or did he just put himself out of position and in the right spot to get countered? You know what I mean? I don't.
Do you think? Because I know the money fight. Sorry to interrupt, but I know
it's okay.
His dream fight, for whatever reason, is either against Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Tyson Fury, I don't even think he'll be able to touch him. But against
No.
Deontay Wilder, a guy really doesn't really move his head, no defense, really just relies on his right hand. Do you think he can possibly win that fight?
I think he could maybe win that one. I think he could win that one.
And it's no shade to Wilder. It's just realistically, he doesn't move his head. He doesn't.
We gotta stop.
Use his feet. Well, you don't. But hold on,
Johnny.
hold on. I'm just saying, Deontay Wilder, he doesn't move his head. He doesn't sidestep. He doesn't really.
Johnny.
I'm just saying, man.
Johnny, you know me when it comes to Wilder. I'm not a Wilder fan. I've never have been, right? You know that, right? They consider me a Wilder hater, right? But we're gonna keep it real, man. When it comes to skills, and Wilder lacks a lot of those. Francis made Wilder look like a skilled fighter. That's the difference. Wilder did beat Luis Ortiz. He got way more experience. We're talking about a bronze medalist. I'm not a Wilder fan, but we're not gonna act like, bro, Francis is not even that great of a striker in MMA. He just has punching power. He doesn't have like a good jab. He doesn't have counters. He doesn't have good footwork. He falls over himself a lot. I mean, Stipe made a terrible mistake in the rematch, but we seen Stipe did to him when he boxed him. He put the jab on him. He used angles, and he outboxed him. I mean, and he mixed up his wrestling. I don't think Francis. I think it's a fun thing for them to make the fight happen. I think we'll all get excited. Oh, it'll be a big event. If Francis gets past Gil, which I don't think Gale, if he does, I don't think he will. But Francis boxing, we're just putting on 10-ounce gloves, and we're talking about him versus the elite boxers. You can put Francis in the ring with Jared Anderson right now, and Jared Anderson will tear him apart, bro. I just think it's a different pedigree, Johnny. We've both been in the ring and sparred with MMA guys, and it's a different world when we use our boxing, bro. It's different, bro. It's way different, man. Francis is a monster.
But you don't think Francis like the only reason I'm not saying that Francis is like this top elite guy, but Wilder isn't exactly top level either. He ain't no Muhammad Ali, but at the same time, he has that power. I think it'll transfer over to boxing, and we've seen Wilder rocked by guys who don't really that hard.
I mean, Johnny, but Wilder does have an outright jab. Like I said, the things that Wilder looks terrible at against other elite boxers, he will look good versus Francis, because he does have.
I beg to differ.
Hold on, Mama.
I apologize. I don't.
I mean, we're not gonna act like this guy didn't drop Tyson Fury like 5 times. Was it 4 or 5 times throughout 3 fights?
Yeah,
he did make some adjustments in that rematch. Before he gassed out, he was going to the body very well. He was showing a lot of fundamentals. I'm not a Wilder fan, Johnny. I'm not they tell me I'm the Wilder hater, but his fundamentals are better than Francis's. Francis's fundamentals is not that great. Like, go watch.
You don't think if he lands on Wilder, it could sit him on? I mean, sit him on
like boxing. 10 ounces, if boxing, but Wilder will use his jab. I don't see it at all. The
only reason Wilder has had as enduring a career as he has is because he's been in better shape. Who was the other dude? Ortiz, Ruiz? That dude was out of shape. He would have killed him. Had he been in shape, he would have killed him. Like, Wilder, listen, man, he has one thing that he does well, hits hard. That is the only thing he does well. I don't want him hitting me, but that's the only thing he does is hit hard.
And I agree, man. Wilder has,
but who has the better fundamentals?
Always been in shape. You said what?
Who has the better fundamentals?
The better fundamentals? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
I think he's breaking up.
Yes, better fundamentals than Wilder and Francis.
I mean, if you're asking me, I think Wilder has a little bit better fundamentals. But you also got it. But you also.
Everybody.
I'm not talking about Wilder throwing. I'm talking about how he reacts.
I'd have to watch some more Wilder, because each time I've watched him, I'm like, he doesn't move his head, and he doesn't punch with leverage.
But neither does
What I'm
Francis.
saying is when the fire's coming to him, believe me when I tell you that I know for a fact Wilder knows how to land the right hand and he knows how to pop a jab. I'm talking about when it's coming to him. If Francis,
But Johnny, we're talking about a 12-round boxing match.
Mm-hmm.
Francis has got tired.
That probably first round.
No.
That fight would end in the first round.
What I'm trying to tell you is that fight is going to go some rounds. It's not going to be a 2-round fight. Francis has got tired in MMA in 1 or 2 rounds. Like we just said, Wilder is the more conditioned fighter.
Oh yeah,
we gotta put everything to. So Wilder would stop him in 1 round. Okay, go ahead.
Yo, Adrian, are you? Adrian, are you there? Are you frozen?
No, he's there.
Okay, I don't know if he can hear me or not. Chris, you good? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, no, I can hear you guys fine.
Can you hear me as well?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
Adrian, I just heard you now. Yeah. I think he might have a bad service where.
Do you guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I hear you. He left. Yeah, he'll be back. Anyways.
Okay, hold on, Johnny. I got a question.
Yes.
Do you think Francis even beats? Do you think? Because first of all, if Francis loses his next fight, the whole boxing stuff is out the window. No one's gonna want to see Francis versus Wilder or Fury if he gets knocked out in his next fight. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It takes away the whole mystique. The whole mystique of the MMA guy coming over and fighting these guys for his first fight. Because Francis is not going to go in boxing and start a career and fight like lower level guys and build a resume. He's going to go jump right into.
No, he's going to go straight to the top guy. Yeah,
he's going to go straight into the top for a multi-million-dollar payday type of fight with Wilder or Fury. So, do you think that he even beats his? Do you think he wins the next fight in the UFC? I don't want to mess his name up, but Gaines.
He probably
Gone.
Okay.
Cyril gone. Cyril gone.
Okay. So do I think he wins the fight? Probably not. I don't think he wins the fight. But at the same time, even if he it really depends on how he loses. If he gets knocked out, maybe that boxing talk goes out the window. But it was let's say it was a competitive fight and he just loses by decision, then I still think they get the fight done. But at the same time, you gotta remember, Wilder's coming off of a loss too. So if let's say I don't think that fight even gets made anyways, but let's just say it happens. Let's just say it happens. Wilder's coming off of a brutal loss. Let's say Francis gets brutally knocked out. 2 guys coming off a brutal loss. Deontay Wilder can still sell. I think that fight still will attract people. I think they still get it done. I highly doubt it. I'm almost sure that they'll come to an agreement with another contract with Dana White. But if the fight gets done, I'm sorry, if he loses his fight, it really depends on how he loses the fight. So that's pretty much where I stand on that.
Okay.
You know what else people forget is I know everyone is really quick to say Ngannou might lose this fight with Cyril Gane, and I could see why, because Cyril Gane is impressive. Mm-hmm. But have people already forgotten that Ngannou destroyed Alistair Overeem? He destroyed him. Alistair Overeem's an elite level kickboxer. Elite level, or at least he was. He was not a punk. He's got many of the accolades. Mm-hmm. And he got knocked out.
Okay, but hold on. With that being said, can Johnny, one of you guys pull up Alistair Overeem's last 5 fights before he fought Francis? Because I think everybody was knocking out Overeem. Overeem had a good years. Ever since Overeem got they took away the TRT stuff away. Overeem was not that monster anymore. Mm-hmm. He hasn't.
So do you think he was on that shit on his
I'm not saying. Yes. You can see that.
Okay. So check this out. So check this out. I'm looking at his resume right now. Before he lost to Francis Ngannou, he had beaten Fabricio Werdum. He beat Mark Hunt. He lost to Stipe. He beat Andre. I don't know how to say this guy's name, and then he beat Junior Dos Santos. So he was on Out of his last fights before he lost to Ngannou, he was 4-1.
All right.
Mhm.
See?
So
He fought
you know,
well
he
against
was still
Stipe.
decent
Did he get
enough to
knocked
beat
out
up.
last fight?
You said what? What'd you say, Jew?
Oh, not that Adrian said something.
Did somebody
No,
say something?
Overeem fought really well against Stipe. He dropped him.
Yeah, he fought really well against him. He had a pretty good performance against him. That was only in that last fight before he fought Ngannou, and I think that was he ended up getting knocked out, but he did have a pretty good performance. And then he knocked out Mark Hunt.
I was wrong.
Mm-hmm. No, sorry, but Alistair Overeem, and then I think his last fight was against Alexander Volkov, and he ended up losing that TKO. So, but yeah, before the last fight when he fought Francis, he was on a pretty good run, 4-1. He got some pretty good names too, Mark Hunt, Junior Dos Santos. So,
But Kane, however he says his name, I keep butchering his name. He is a way better and more elusive fighter than Alistair ever was. This heavyweight is something different, bro. He's like a welterweight, but a heavyweight. You know, he's so smooth, fluid, and so much. He got punching power in both his hands and both his legs. The way he just handled
he fought Derek Lewis, didn't he? Cyril Gane.
He dominated. Yeah. He didn't just fight him. He destroyed Derek Lewis.
Wow. So is that why Derek Lewis was using the Houston excuse?
Yeah, he used the Houston excuse. I mean, Francis has that stuff. Francis got that power. I mean, he can catch him and win us. But if we just if he don't stop him, he's gonna get pieced apart. You know what I mean? That's my opinion, though. You know what I mean? We got to see the fight happen.
Mm-hmm. Chris, what do you think? Do you think he beats Cyril Gane, or do you think he loses that one?
It's tough because as a striker, I like everything that Cyril Gane does. I like everything he does. But you want to sit there and think that Francis Ngannou is like a one-trick pony and that he just hits people hard. But he looks like a physical specimen. Now, the fight with him and Derek Lewis was kind of boring. That's because you got two guys who can knock you out with either hand. That's why it was a boring fight, because no one wanted to take any chances. I don't know if Cyril Gane wants to get hit by a guy that he will hit him. He will hit him. I think if this fight, I think if this fight goes the distance, that's the way Cyril Gane's going to have to win. Okay. I think he's going to have to drag him into deep water. I think if they come out of the gate fast, or if Ngannou is able to put a pace on him, I think Ngannou wins it.
Okay. Hey,
this fight's energy reminds me of.
I don't know if Adrian can hear us or not. I see him, but I don't know if he can hear us.
Yeah, I hear you guys.
Okay. Go ahead. What were you saying?
This fight's energy reminds me of Cyborg versus Amanda Nunes. And when I say that, it's because something I seen in Nunes and Cyborg, and I said, Amanda's going to knock her out. And a lot of people thought I was crazy. Cyborg was overly cocky going into that fight. And I feel Francis is so arrogant right now. Every interview I see, everything I'm seeing, this dude talking about fighting Tyson Fury, his mind is all over the place. He's very cocky right now. And he was very cocky when he went into the Steve fight. I just think this man's arrogance and his gifted punching power might be his also downfall. And that's just my honest opinion.
Okay. All right.
Chris, I won't be
surprised
if he gets knocked out in the first 2 rounds.
First round, it's I can see it happening. I also see what you're saying too, as well. He is feeling himself a little too much, a little too much. Sure. Definitely.
But sometimes some of that stuff is just hype. And, here's an interesting thing. If you think about this, right? If you were to go and rewatch the Nunes and Cyborg fight, now, without a doubt, Nunes knocked her out. If at any point in that fight, if Cyborg had backed off, that fight would have been different. Instead,
You know what? As I was watching that, Chris, I'm glad you said that, because as I was watching that, I remember saying, I'm like, why are you trying to just back up, create distance, and then and then do what you got to do. But she's just, for whatever reason, she just wanted to brawl with her. She wanted to brawl.
Yeah.
Arrogance.
Yeah, exactly. Then
That's
that's what it was. I think she just felt unbeatable, and she was like, "No, you're not gonna beat me." And what? It worked. It worked against her.
Hey,
But
can I make a point, Johnny?
Go ahead.
So there's one thing you guys really need to remember.
Mm-hmm.
The first Stipe-Francis fight, Stipe outclassed him striking.
Mm-hmm.
Cyril Gane is a whole nother beast when it comes to striking.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
It's going to be a masterclass.
Mm-hmm.
Cyril Gane shuts him out. He could stop him. He's going to shut him out. I don't even think it's going to be close, to be honest with you. I think he's going to just tactically just break him down and win these rounds. And if he sees an opening, he's going to get the stoppage.
All right, perfect. So, Chris, go ahead and give me your prediction on that Cyril Gane and Francis Ngannou fight.
I got to. It's a two-part. If it's over fast, I'm gonna go Ngannou.
Okay.
If it goes anything after the second or third round, Gane's got it.
All right, gun to your head. Who are you picking?
Ooh. I'll go Gane. I'm gonna be sorry I said it. I think I'm gonna be sorry I said it.
All right, KP, let me know who you got for that fight.
Yeah. I'm pretty on with Adrian's prediction. It's pretty similar. I think he's gonna outclass him and probably stop him.
I feel
like I said,
way.
Francis has that puncher's chance, but Gane's defense and he's so elusive. I just don't think that he's gonna get clipped like that. I think he's gonna be looking for the counters. I think he's gonna be stepping back. I don't think that he's gonna be just in range. Like I said, Francis does get very wild and he does fall over himself. You can't do that with an elite striker like Gane, man. You fall over, he can catch you. Okay. And Gane got elbows, kicks, knees, punches. He's coming from all angles. I mean, Francis got some decent leg kicks too, but I don't think that you're gonna win a kickboxing match with him. So I'm going with Gane, probably late stoppage, mid stoppage.
Awesome. All right, fellas. Well, hey, I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you guys for being on. Thank you, Chris, so much for being on. Until the next one.
It was awesome. Thank you.
Take care, guys.